Alright, we're running behind, but threw the 3/8 plate up on the bench, getting ready to cut, and I figured I had a little time. I'd got the vise mount cut out, so I'll go ahead and weld that part of it up. At least that way I can throw it out of the way and I don't forget what my layup was or anything like that. So get that guy welded up, and then got a cut. I think it's 2 inches off this side. This was like a, I don't know what the hell they cut this with. It almost looks like a Sawzall. But this side isn't square. The other side's like a factory edge, so I'm going to leave that factory edge. I'll set this up, get this squared up. And then this edge was like torch cut. So I might line that up and run the saw down there too, just to give myself a clean edge, instead of sitting there with a grinder for a half hour trying to clean it up and it's still wavy. Probably just run the circ saw down it and have a nice edge to work with. This one's not bad, it's just I think it's dinged up from getting run into shit for a while, so I have no idea where this steel came from. It was just in a room I was clearing out in a building. And so clean it up, make a welding table out of it. Getting going. Yeah, nothing quite like the first weld of the day, and you forget to turn the gas on. You get to spend the next fucking half hour grinding your balls off so you don't have porosity coming through everything else. Fuck. Or you just do what I did and run a really hot weave pass over the top of it and just bury all that porosity, because it's a fucking vise mount. For those of you that didn't know, the weave pass has been allowing ironworkers who haven't had their first beer yet to fucking pass visual weld tests since, man, probably the 1800s. Good job, ironworkers. Here's another tip. Straight cuts aren't just for trim carpenters, so set yourself up a guide so when you're sitting there getting pelted by hot metal chips, at least you don't have to concentrate on being straight too. You just got to push the damn saw through. Alright, cutting this plate with a circ saw is going to throw a ton of hot chips all over the damn place. Especially since that saw is like 5,200 RPM. Way too fast for what you're supposed to use. So you're not saving any money if you blow it all in the emergency room, so wear a freaking face shield. It's not any fun to have somebody digging metal out of your eye. I'm definitely wearing a long sleeve shirt too. And pants. Fuck hot metal chips. Alright. So we'd already made the first cut, that I showed you guys that I was setting up for. Cleaned up this edge real nice. It's a nice straight cut. Just had to run a flap disc across it real quick. Cleaned up any burrs, but got set up for the second cut, and that took, whatever it was, 10 minutes. So the saw got a little bit of a breather, but yeah, this saw ain't really meant for doing this. So it's probably on over temp, something like that. You can throw a battery in it right now, and it'll cut for 10 or 15 seconds, and before it craps out again. But I've been through 4 batteries, 4 or 5 amp hour batteries, and then I finally stuck the big bastard on there, and it was like the saw was fucking supercharged for about 30 seconds until it hit over temp. So yeah, if you're going to be doing a lot of what I would consider heavy steel work, 1/4 inch 3/8 plate, get the right saw for it. Milwaukee makes a nice metal cutting circ saw that, plug into the wall. It's like 15 amp. But if you don't do that much, and you're like me, just abuse what you got. I'm going to throw this fucking thing in front of a fan and let it cool off and see if I can get these last 6 inches in. That's what she said. Alright, finished cutting the plate for the top. Got the leg frames cut out. Got the ends cleaned up. Took the mill scale off. Put a little bevel on a couple of tubes. So time to start tacking them up. We'll get them all squared up, tacked, clamp them down, weld them out, and then we'll get them welded to the weld it to the sheet, and that'll be our welding table. Alright, here's a good example of why you got to check for square even when you clamp it. You're like, well, I'm clamping a steel piece to a flat plate, it's got to be square, right? Wrong. Clamp's got enough play in them to where we're out quite a bit, and whatever that square is, that's about 8 inch, 7 inch square. So what you end up having to do is pull it back. Damn it. Yay, YouTube. So you want to square it up before you weld it. Make sure you actually pull it tight against the square, and yeah, otherwise you'll end up with a leg that's off. But you know, I didn't make that mistake at all because I'm actually making a YouTube video, so I'm flawless. Alright, got the legs all welded out, got them welded onto the table. Pretty happy with it, everything stayed square, and I just stitched them on, you know, one on each side, and then the center, and both sides of the tube, goes for both legs. Got lucky, and the 3/8 plate didn't warp, real happy about that. So I actually have a flat fab table now. I'm sure if I put something heavy on it it'll bend, but a lot of the fab work I do is light duty, so, or at least light by comparison of tractors and shit. So, happy with that. Gonna finish up the vise mount and the bench grinder mount. Alright, got the vise mount done. Took that piece that I welded earlier with the miter cut 45s. Took an 1/8 inch plate. I was going to double it up, decided not to. Just welded it on there. And I figured if I had to, I could always double it up. You know, plug weld another piece on top of it. But bolted it down, shoved the piece of 2-inch in the jaws, and the vise is the limiting factor. The plate's good enough for now. So that's it. So it fits the receiver tube underneath the bench. The welding table nests right underneath the bench, so it doesn't take up any more room. It's probably going to hurt your ears, but it slides out. Could set it anywhere around the garage, and then when I'm done, shove it right back underneath. Sorry, people with headphones.